Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gaiman. 3M Open tournament recap on the line. Let's bring him in. It's the whole crew. I can't remember the last time we did the whole crew. Maybe it was last Sunday. I don't know. Let's bring him in. Kyle Porter. What up, KP?
I just want to know who the better Koepka is.
Currently Chase.
Could be.
2 weeks in a row, I think, right? Has he gotten him 2 weeks in a row?
Well, Chase didn't play the Memorial, did he?
Oh, maybe. No.
Work day?
Just work day.
Maybe work day.
Okay.
So 2 out of 3.
Greg Ducharme. What up, Greg? Nice haircut.
Thank you. Appreciate that. First haircut. It's since the kind of, I'll call it the new normal, as we like to say. So it was a unique experience.
And we are on YouTube, as always. And if you are watching us on YouTube, there it is. You can see Mark Immelman's, what is that, a Hawaiian shirt, Mark?
Aloha, brother. Yeah, this is Hawaiian. Hawaiian in Georgia.
Eyes on the road, Mark.
Do with that what you wish.
Mark makes it happen. He's joining us on the pod from wherever he's at right now. So check us out on YouTube. It is youtube.com/firstcutpodcast. Little something extra next week. We'll do our standard DFS preview for the WGC. And then Greg and I, oh baby, a little Barracuda action. Greg, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there's a couple of you out there that are really looking forward to that one. So I think it's going to be pretty popular.
You got to be sick, I think. You got to be pretty sick, I think.
Yeah. There's an audience out there.
Are you going to do the challenge tour also or no?
Sure. Why not? Well, whatever it takes. If they've got lineups for it, we'll do it. All right, gentlemen, let's jump into this. Michael Thompson is your 3M Open champion. Goes out and shoots a 4 under 67 on Sunday to win by 2 shots over Adam Long. His second career PGA Tour victory and first since the 2013 Honda Classic. Kyle, we'll start with you. This stretch of holes that he played at the end of Sunday, 16, 17, and 18, I thought were absolute nails. Like it was cold-blooded.
I mean, the bunker shot on 16 was a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, to even attempt that shot, as some people were pointing this out, but water beyond the hole. I mean, if you mishit that if you mishit that at all, it's kind of over. Like you're in the water, it'd be a complete mess. Look, like my thing with Michael Thompson, he's got like the most average name ever, right? Like he's like the most average looking guy ever. His game is very average. He was lights out over the last couple of days because he could have ejected on Saturday late, could have ejected at any point on Sunday, and he just kept hitting golf shots. And I don't know, man. Like I was really impressed by what he did. If you're Michael Thompson, you get 5 shots at winning a tournament in your career, something like that. And to step up and know that and still like hit the shots that you need to. I think we look at it and we're like, oh, well, yeah, of course. Like he just hit the shots that he'd been hitting all week, but it's very different. And if you talk to any of those guys, they talk about how different it feels on a Sunday, even though there's no fans, there's none of the normal pressure. You still have to, it's still different to hit those shots, and it's easier to bail out. It's easier to not, engage that discomfort, right? Like late on a Sunday, and he did it, and he went out and earned it. I thought it was cool. Like I feel like I'm a new Michael Thompson fan just for the way he kind of closed it out.
I thought it was very cool. Mark, I want to get your opinion on this because there's a couple of things that can get me all choked up, dog stuff, grown men on crying, and Michael Thompson gave a very emotional interview on the 18th green. I mean, this is really life-changing stuff. I mean, we talk a lot about Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas. I mean, there's a lot more Michael Thompsons than there are of those other guys.
Well, yeah, so right. And Kyle nailed it, with the opportunities to win. And people don't realize the grind of it all, what goes into winning for most players on the PGA Tour. And for a lot of these guys, 1, 2, 3 wins in a career are a big deal. They're life-changing. And the grind of it behind the scenes, there's blood, sweat, and honestly a lot of tears. And the tears of joy are always heartening to me, but they're tears that are going on when you're missing cuts and you don't know where to turn. But I got to commend him for sticking to it. I mean, last win back in 2013, and I got to give some big props to Justin Parsons. I mean, he and Michael Thompson hooked up after Thompson had got together with another instructor and worked on ball striking, worked on neatening up the lines in his golf swing, which got better. But then he began to play a game that he couldn't really trust under pressure. So he got back to Justin Parsons, who works down there in Sea Island, and Parsons just said to him, hey, you got to play Michael Thompson golf. And this resonated because this is what his coach at Alabama, Jay Sewell, said to him. He's like, you do you. You're not going to strike the heck out of it like the other guys, but you can putt and you can let the putter be your superstar. And so they got back to his blueprints. And oftentimes you can stray so far away from that it's hard to find this again. But apparently they're on a winning wicket. And it was so heartening for me to see from everyone involved, because I can tell you from a teacher's standpoint, you know, when the times are tough, you take ownership of this sort of stuff. And to have your guy come through, and I'm talking on Justin's behalf, I mean, what a thrill for all of them, but especially for Michael Thompson.
Absolutely. He is going to earn a spot into next week's WGC. He's going to earn a spot into the U.S. Open. Greg, he called Winged Foot, I believe, his favorite course ever, is what he said. So we'll be able to see him tee it up at Winged Foot. But this kind of goes back. I mean, Saturday, Kyle alluded to this, Greg, where it's like the wheels were coming off. I mean, he had a 4-shot lead on Saturday. It got wobbly, and he was able to kind of just right the ship, get in on 18 with par, from kind of an awkward position, and then he's got this co-lead heading into Sunday with Richie Warrenski, who we'll talk about in a second. But like, I was very impressed, because I feel like a lot of times on tour, these guys who are outside the top 200 in the world and the wheels are about to fall off, they just let the wheels fall off.
Yeah, well, especially when, let's just take it past Saturday, right? He makes par on Saturday, which was huge. I totally agree. And then on Sunday, you get into a situation where you're holding on to a lead, which is a lot of pressure. It seems we talk about it every single week, where somebody gives up a lead on the PGA Tour, and there are just so many chasers. Look at the leaderboard. I mean, it's 64, 65, 65, 64. You go down the list, everybody's shooting six under par or better. So you have to go out there and you have to get the job done. It's really difficult to do. And then you add in the pressures that Mark and Kyle have alluded to. And this is a player who doesn't have his job locked up for next year. Well, he does for next year because of the unique circumstances. But getting a 2-year exemption on the PGA Tour is the biggest deal of all of us. It's bigger than getting into the U.S. Open, bigger than getting into even Masters in April, honestly, because now he has an opportunity to choose his own schedule. And last year, we saw a player in Max Homa win at the Wells Fargo in 2019. And that win, to me, when I look at a Max Homa career timeline, it freed him up. He could have a little bit more consistency in his results, because he can choose where he wants to play and where he doesn't want to play. He can play the schedule that's going to lead to the best performance, rather than play the schedule that's going to get you another 50 FedEx Cup points to move you inside the top 125. And if you look at Michael Thompson through his career, he has had to play as much as he possibly can in order to keep his card. I mean, 27. He's over 20 events basically every year. It can get strenuous, and those PGA Tour kind of years over 20 events only include the PGA Tour. That doesn't include what he had to play on Korn Ferry Tour, what he had to play elsewhere around the world. So really big win, and it can change not just your life but also your career in the events that you play.
I don't know if you guys know this. I've played Winged Foot before, so
What? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Have you played the whole U.S. Open Rota?
Apparently, I think so. Yeah,
I might have. No, I wanted to ask you guys, and maybe specifically throw it over to Rick. I was thinking about this as Thompson won, because a lot of the stuff that Greg mentioned there, like just how meaningful something like this is, and he gets choked up, and he's kind of crying, and he's talking about his family, all these different things. Do you think it's more meaningful to, and I kind of put this out on Twitter, do you think it's more meaningful for Thompson to win the 3M, or for somebody like Jon Rahm to go to number 1 in the world? Number 1 in the world is a big deal. Like, I don't want to mitigate that, but I was just kind of juxtaposing what we saw last Sunday to this Sunday. I'm curious about how you feel about that, Rick.
I think that it is probably more meaningful to Michael Thompson to win the 3M because what you said earlier, right? He might get like 3 cracks at this. He might get 3 cracks at this ever. I don't know. I mean, it's not often that Michael Thompson sits on the 54 hole leader or is in contention as deep. Jon Rahm, like I understand there might be few chances to get the number 1, but like he's that good. He's always going to be around, or seemingly is always going to be around. So just from a how often is it going to happen standpoint, I think it's more meaningful for Michael Thompson.
Yeah. I'm sort of, I go along with that, but I also just want to say that every mountain scaled for whoever you are is a big deal. And at the time, I mean, Jon Rahm, well, let's put ourselves at dinner with Jon Rahm last Sunday night, winning the Memorial, becoming world's number 1. This is the realization of a lifelong dream. And you talk about cracks at getting to number 1. I mean, there's a handful of folks that can do this sort of stuff. So that was a massive achievement. So for me, it's more a situational kind of a thing. And I don't care if you're Rory McIlroy or whatever the case might be. For Rory last year, winning the Canadian Open with a final round 61, I'm sure he was over the moon at that sort of thing. Now, would winning the Masters in November be a bigger deal? Well, absolutely, because you got that career Grand Slam thing. So it's a hard sort of a deal to really quantify and compare. As I've got a guy rocking next door to me in a car here, but still, they're all big achievements because of the investment that goes into this sort of stuff, not just from the player, but as Michael Thompson said, from the family and such around too.
If we're at dinner with Jon Rahm last Sunday, he's definitely paying, and
nice red wine.
There's definitely some good wine being had. I loved seeing, and we already talked about this, but I think sometimes we get into situations like this and guys are just so, I don't know, they've been out there for so long. They're so hardened. They're so like, just whatever. Like Thompson showed legit emotion all weekend. Yeah. And I thought that was so cool because as a consumer, as a viewer, as somebody who covers this, that's what I want. I don't care that it's just the 3M Open. Like that should be a big deal to you for all the reasons that we've talked about. And so for him to fist pump on Saturday afternoon, for him to break down, I mean, he like I thought he sort of met the moment in ways that I don't know that other guys would. I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought it was awesome. So it was a lot of fun all weekend long. Greg, he's not on the outline, but we have to tip our cap to Richie Warrenski, who was your sleeper. He was a share of the 54-hole lead. Swing looked a little bit fast on Sunday. Golf is very hard. The tour is very hard. It was just not his day.
Yeah, well, it speaks as well to the meaning, and it speaks to the, how impressive what Michael Thompson did was, because it's really difficult. And everybody in that situation, pretty much everybody on the leaderboard is inexperienced when it comes to winning PGA Tour events. I mean, Adam Long won a year and a half ago. Charles Howell III won in the wraparound season. Ask him how hard it is to win on the PGA Tour. I mean, the guy's got 96 top 10 finishes and like 2 wins on tour. So it's a really difficult challenge to overcome. But Richie, for me, I mean, yeah, he lived up to it. He kept me interested. I had some laughs. We had some good banter on Twitter and everything about him. So yeah, it was great to see, and a player who I think can learn from this kind of thing.
Yeah, still a big time finish for him. T3.
Yeah.
There was a 9-way tie for third, which is kind of crazy. The sole second place golfer was Adam Long, and Mark, I think the storyline with Adam Long here is he like made the cut on the number and goes out and plays his last 38 holes, 16 under par, just goes absolutely nuts. And I don't know what the takeaway from that is, other than like my big takeaway is the tour is really deep when guys like Adam Long, who have won one time in their career, can make the cut on the number and finish second and just go 63, 64.
For me, the takeaway is this is a guy that is, you don't have to be some bomber off the tee to be a birdie machine. You don't have to be a guy that just pins irons all day long to be a birdie machine. If you just piece your golf together, your game together during a tournament, you too can get your share, and it was an impressive deal. But the truth of it is, to your point, Rick, any one of these guys can get bananas over the weekend when they're kind of freewheeling. For me, the kind of where the rubber meets the road is the guys playing under pressure, and to just build on what Greg had to offer there with Warrenski, I mean, let's take a step back 1 week, where Jon Rahm is a proven tournament winner. But it was looking dicey there at one stage coming down the stretch, because this stuff is so meaningful. And as soon as you add pressure to the equation, statistics go out the window, all the stuff goes out the window, because now it's big time stuff, and stuff starts tightening up, and your mind starts working at 100 mile an hour. And those are those immeasurables that the real champions are able to get by and get comfortable with.
The freewheeling golfer is a dangerous golfer. Here's a couple of guys who have made the cut on the number and won on the PGA Tour since 2010. Brent Snedeker did it at that wacky Farmers Insurance Open in 2016. That's crazy. Yeah, right. Carl Pedersen, 2010 RBC Canadian. Rory McIlroy, I've heard of him, 2010 Quail Hollow Championship, KP.
Well, remember when Justin Rose almost did it at Carnoustie in... What was that, 18 when Molinari won? I think it's why, I think sometimes on Fridays, people are like, oh, why are you talking about the cut line? Doesn't matter, all these different things. And it's like, no, it does matter, because this kind of stuff can happen. It doesn't happen very often, but I don't know. It just, it was crazy. I thought Adam Long was going to win the tournament for a little bit. And then Thompson closed and he didn't. But yeah, the cut line matters on Friday for a lot of different reasons.
Well, mark the time quick, because here's my Bob Jones reference, and we haven't heard about Spieth from Kyle just yet. Jones, yeah, I'm sure I will. Jones at the Masters, that's where the 10-stroke rule applies, because Bob Jones always believed that if you were inside of 10 after the 36-hole cut, you had a chance to win. And it's becoming more and more the truth, because those guys playing at the end of the day with some spiked up greens, little breeze freshens in the afternoon, pressure's up. Those guys in the morning, they get out there and they get bananas, and then you wait around, and all of a sudden you may stumble into one. Like the US Open, now I'm going way back and showing my age. When Tom Kite won at Pebble Beach, Monty had posted at 11 a.m. in the morning. And then you just saw folks getting blown out into the Pacific Ocean, and he nearly pulled it off. And but for some histrionics by Kites, we might have seen Monty with a US Open.
One of my golf rules that I would change, I would like to see every tournament just have the cut be whoever is within 10 shots, whether that's 10 guys or 100 guys, whoever
that would be cool.
Right. Make the prize pool, pay it out towards 18 guys on the weekend. I don't care.
That would be sweet.
Because it would, and also give some guys incentive to go really low on Friday and try to eliminate a bigger portion of the field, right? Extend yourself. It would be cool.
I'm way in on that.
Think about Webb Simpson at the Players, right? Yes. Shoots 66, 63, and there's 20 guys playing on Saturday and Sunday. That would be it would get a little dicey.
It would be awesome. Greg, let's talk Tony Finau. I don't know. I mean, the numbers. I don't know what to say. Right. I mean, another event where Tony is going to have a great finish. He's going to be in contention, and he's not going to be the one to raise the trophy. And it is now statistically improbable for him to have this many top fives, this many top tens, and not win. And I don't know if it's just mental at this point, right? I mean, he's got a new bagman. Maybe he wants to hear a different voice. The numbers really bear it out. He's awesome scoring average Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He's terrible on Sunday. I don't know what it is, but that's where we're at.
There's after seeing this one, a lot of the Tony Finau losses, you can make excuses for, right? Xander clips him after a great round on Sunday in China, but Xander's, one of the best players in the world. And then Webb Simpson beats him on Sunday with great finish down the stretch, makes 3 birdies in a row, including the playoff to end the thing. And you can kind of make excuses down the line. The Memorial, the conditions get really difficult, and it was hard for everybody. And, the breaks didn't go his way. You can always make those excuses, but this week is a little bit different. It's hard to find an excuse that Michael Thompson beats you on the weekend if you're going to consider yourself one of the best players in the world. Yes, it can happen. It can clearly happen. But now you're talking about 30 top 10s on the PGA Tour since 2016 and 17, I believe, without a win. And there's a point where you have to step up. You have to turn the corner, and you have to get the job done and go out there and take it. And I look to the middle of the back nine. He gets to 10, makes a birdie on 10 to take the lead. And all of a sudden he misses a great birdie opportunity on the par 5 12th. Tries to hit a flop shot after missing the green to the right, can't make birdie. Misses a birdie putt on a 5-foot putt on number 13, the par 3 for par. That was huge. Misses on 14, misses on 15. You go through the entire round of golf and he's missing putts narrowly. And ultimately, at some point, he has to flip a switch and go out there and take a tournament the way Webb Simpson did to him at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. You have to step up and attack on Sunday. And right now, for some reason, Tony Finau hasn't figured out how to do that yet.
Greg, I'm glad you said that, because I did a Kyle Porter and a Rick Gehman. I did a deep dive into the numbers, looking at Tony Finau, trying to figure out the thing. And what you say, the numbers bear it out, Greg, because of the last 7 holes. And basically the rule goes, you miss putts, you miss cuts, all right? And if you miss putts on a Sunday afternoon, you're also not winning tournaments. And he lost strokes on the greens on 4 of his last 7 holes. Now, the great closers, they're guys who make those 5, 6, 7, 8 foot stuff regularly on the way in. If you go through any tournament highlight reel, you'll see the winner making the lion's share of putts coming down the stretch.
Wait, they usually show made putts on highlight reels? They don't show the missed ones?
Okay. Well, I mean, think of Woods. When he was dominant, if he was over 15 feet, you were betting on Tiger making, right? And that's why he won like he did. And so that's the thing with Finau. He's just got to figure a way now, because the ball striking was impeccable, as it always is with him. I mean, the mindset was impeccable. He doesn't blow up and get all, antsy with himself, but he just doesn't make putts when it counts. And then the scrambling numbers on the final day were ludicrous. I mean, he was 6 of 12 scrambling. You are not going to win on a Sunday if you're only getting the ball up and down 1 out of 2 times. I'm sorry. So I mean, the mission is clear. If he wants to win, go and iron out those things, because we know he's got the weapons.
I know this is going to shock you guys, but I actually disagree with Mark here. I think that I was disappointed with how he drove the ball all week. He finished 29th in strokes gained off the tee. What?
Really?
Yeah. Tony Finau should not be finishing 29th in strokes gained off the tee. That's like, I feel like, and Rick and I talked about this on Saturday, you go to some of these holes and it's like, it's almost like they're trying to figure out what the plan is, like right before he hits the shot. Like it doesn't feel very mapped out, and who knows? Like I'm not there. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know that Tony Finau shouldn't be finishing 29th in strokes gained off the tee in a field like this, right? How's that gonna help him make a 5-footer on 13 when the chips are down? Because the 5-footer will be a 3-footer instead, because you're closer to the hole.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't look at this as a numbers thing with him right now. I just don't. I think there are different tournaments where different things get him, but something gets him. And to me, it's an attitude thing, and it shows up on the greens. Like there is a type of player that wills the ball into the hole when, as Mark says, the chips are down, and there's a type of player that doesn't. And Sergio Garcia and Tiger Woods are great examples. Sergio, the ball always seemed to lip out, right? I think of 2007 at Carnoustie, 2008 at Oakland Hills, all these countless moments in majors where it lips out. And for Tiger, they always lip in. And it's an attitude thing to me, and that's where I draw the line. He gave himself plenty of opportunities on Sunday on the back 9, and he didn't capitalize on any of them. Not a single one. Not on 12, the par 5. Not on 16, the par 5. It was 18 when it's over, and birdie's not enough anyway. So, of course, he makes birdie there on 18. And so it's all attitude for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and I think that, I was talking earlier about how it seemed like Thompson engaged the situation. He engaged the moment, right? And he talked about, I just read through his press conference transcript, and he was talking about how him and his caddy were saying, like, you got to step up and hit a golf shot. And it doesn't feel like Finau, and that can apply to putting and chipping obviously as well. It just, I don't know. I never get the sense that Finau is like going to step up and hit the shot. Right. And yeah, he's done it. I don't think he can't do it, but I never feel like he's going to. I mean, to play the last 8 holes in even par on that course when you're Tony Finau and you've got an opportunity to win right there, it's kind of weak. Like it doesn't, I don't know. I like Finau. I think he's an unbelievable player. I think he's a great dude. But it was just kind of another weak ending to a long series of them now for Tony Finau.
He's going to have his brother on the bag next week at the WGC and then at the PGA Championship. And Mark, I'm wondering, again, it's really hard to try to figure out what these guys are thinking, but I do wonder if it's just kind of a different voice. Maybe just needs something different moving forward because this is now going to be, or maybe Boyd Summerhays was just kind of a fill-in for a week, and but now a new caddy for another week.
Well, I'd made this point. I think it was Greg and I that were talking, and you'll start to get a read on what the player's mindset is when you start to see things around him moving. I mean, trust me, I've been a PGA Tour golf instructor. We were always second in line to get ditched if things weren't going right. Caddy goes first, coach goes next, agent follows, and then farther down the track, your spouse will end up hitting the skids too if you're really serious about things. And it's the joke on tour, but it's the reality of it. So apparently Finau's looking at this going, well, like Jason Day did, I need a stronger voice on the bag, like a Steve Williams, for argument's sake. Or you need this rock next to you. This guy that can do like Michael Thompson's guy said to him, is like, okay, boy, it's time to sack up and hit one. I mean, we're not going to circumvent this because there are situations under pressure that you have to just step up and be a man about stuff. And maybe he's looking for a voice. Now, Boyd was a fill-in. He told us as much. Having brother on the bag, well, it's sort of worked out some for Dustin Johnson. You can make the argument for Harry Diamond on Rory McIlroy's bag too. And everyone's critical at some stage. You've got to be comfortable. You've got to have that person that challenges you when need be. You've got to have the person that pats you on the back when need be. But I think for Finau, look, the fire burns bright. He's a competitor, but he needs a little something. And I think perhaps a change in scenery with a caddy is a good start.
All right. I'm very interested in this Tony Finau story because
what's your take, Rick?
I think that he needs a different voice. This is actually my Jordan Spieth take as well, which is he just needs a different voice, whether it's right or wrong. Like Michael Greller could be the greatest caddy on the face of the earth, and he might be. Like, I don't know, but sometimes you need a different voice, and I think
maybe Spieth needs me on the bag.
I feel like you'd be very supportive of him.
That would be awesome.
I think you'd be like that Ricky awesome Fowler commercial. Yeah. Circle the dot.
Empty the bank account to get KP on Jordan Spieth's bag. Like,
can you imagine?
I would feed you. I would funnel you all. Well, it wouldn't be very much, but I would funnel you the earnings.
Can you imagine this? Kyle, we're choking. Are we Kyle? Kyle, are we choking? Kyle, are we choking?
Yeah, feels like we're falling apart, buddy.
Well, I would say no. It's not. This isn't a we. This is a you.
Yeah, I'm not your buddy, and this is gonna be great to write about. So I don't know what to tell you.
Kyle say, don't worry. I've played here before. Don't worry about it. I got us.
I made a 3 here, Jordan. So.
All right, we're gonna talk. One and done. We're going to talk about matchups, couple other odds and ends. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. Greg, do you own one of those Charles Schwartzel hats by any chance? Did you see
it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. So I wear when I'm teaching, which I haven't been doing much of this year, but when I'm teaching, I wear not a Charles. It's not a cow. Like that's a cowboy hat. I go kind of like it's more like a Joel Damon, but a little bit bigger. I think they call it like an Australian one.
Yeah,
and
those are cool.
Does wonders.
Yeah,
it does wonders.
Great.
I mean, you're out there all day in the sun. You know what it's like down there in Texas, Kyle. Mark, You know what it's like out on the range. You can't be applying sunscreen to your neck and your ears all day. So throw one of those on, and it's like wearing an umbrella. It's
awesome. They're the best.
It would take a lot of money to get me into one of those things. Oh boy!
Yeah, Mark's image conscious. I'm like
Mark's too pride.
Well, haven't you seen my shirt? For goodness' sake!
Yeah, I'm shocked Mark you don't have a matching hat for that.
Okay, Mark, what's more likely, you wearing that hat or you carrying a 7-wood like Charles was?
highly likely that I'll have a 7-wood in the bag. In fact, I'm fishing around for one right now. So
there you go.
Yeah, look, I need some higher launch in my, seeing as I've lost so much speed.
There you go. Producer Jacob told me he has a 7-wood in the bag. So you'll be
real men carry a 7-wood.
Tough. That's a tough scene.
One and done. I mean, KP, I guess you get the victory lap here. It's 193,000 points from Tony Finau, which I think I'm like pretty positive this is the first time you've earned points since the restart.
Okay, I'm not here to talk about the past.
well, now I can stop talking about it. It's over.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was like 250. Is that wrong?
Well, they had it.
He split it a lot of ways.
Yeah, they split it 1,000 ways.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I feel good about the pick. It didn't. I think with the one and done thing, you just want somebody that's like in the mix on Sunday, right? Like, you know, I wish I could have like traded Finau for like 2 or 3 guys on Sunday. We should be able to do that. That'd be sweet.
Okay. We should listen. I'm up for whatever. Trade guys. I mean, I had EVR this week, so I had no money. Tommy Fleetwood takes down producer. Greg, who did you have? Oh, you had EVR as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did. Brutal.
And Mark, you were on timeout apparently. You had no pick.
I put myself in the penalty box because I was going through my picks, and I realized there was an event where I was rushing to get somewhere, and I realized I hadn't put a pick in. So I called up producer Jacob, and I was like, Jacob, I want to go Gary Woodland this week. So he's like, fine, I'll input this for you. And it occurred to me that was me using Woodland twice. So I penalized myself this week and sat out.
That's like double hitting the ball. Although it's not a penalty anymore, so I think you should get away with it.
It's about the joke.
Yes, the joke about using Woodland twice. Both times I didn't earn very many dollars with it.
Yeah, it's not like it was very advantageous if you're using it twice. Our matchups. Kyle, you are just killing life right now, my friend. You went 4-3, but it was a bloodbath out there. So 4 of the top 5 betting favorites all missed the cut, and essentially every single one of the matchups that we had last week, the offerings, one of the sides missed the cut.
Actually,
there was no weekend sweat.
Hold on real quick. I think that is wrong because I'm just seeing Russell Henley. I think I messed up the Matthew Wolff over Russell Henley line.
Oh, Kyle. Early celebrations.
So actually Moonlight won Best Picture because Rick had Matthew Wolff and Henley lost.
Look at this coming from behind.
Hold on.
This is so crooked.
It's crooked.
This is the best moment of my life.
What
the Victor go the spoils.
Can we talk about the stars in this event real quick? DJ, Brooks, Fleetwood. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't. By the way, DJ's in the field next week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that too. Like I don't know what DJ is right now.
I don't know. I mean, Paul Casey, like I don't, I guess, and I get it. Like guys like Michael Thompson play great in certain weeks. And it's not like you can go out in every round and say, oh, well, Brooks should always be better than Russell Henley or Michael, whoever. But or Chase, yeah. But for all of those guys, all those big names, other than like Finau to miss the cut, it's kind of disappointing.
They all missed the cut.
I think this gets it. One of my things right now, especially going into Memphis, big week for me, by the way, going into PGA, I don't know who to trust. Like, I don't know that I trust anybody at the top, right? Like the top guys in the world. Do I trust Bryson? I don't know. He just missed the cut at Muirfield Village. Do I trust Rory? He's been okay. Do I trust Rahm? Do I trust DJ? Bro, I like, is there anybody to trust here?
Tyrrell Hatton.
He's been the best. He doesn't play often, but he's been like awesome when he plays. I think we're going to get, and Greg, I wonder how, like, I feel like we're going to get a revolving door of like the number 1 player in the world, which doesn't happen often, right? Because there's only been 25 ever or whatever. But I feel like this is the perfect scenario. A bunch of different guys in the next 12 months that could have a couple of hot weeks, jump up to number one, and it just keeps changing hands.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because you got Rory, you have all these guys we just mentioned, right? And Justin Thomas, don't forget about him. All these guys that have the game to do it, but Jon Rahm's game is complete, and this is something he's wanted to do for a long time since he was 14 years old. And if there's anybody that can, I don't know, I think Jon Rahm is a little bit better of a putter than Rory McIlroy right now. So if he were to hold on to world number one for a longer period of time, I wouldn't be surprised. But if Rory figures out the putting, then I think you're right. And you may have a Justin Rose, Brooks Koepka back and forth week to week to week kind of a scenario.
I got a stat here from, I don't know how to say his name on Twitter, but I'm sure all of you guys follow him, at VC606. He's the OWGR mathematician.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nosferatu. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If Rory, for next week, if Rory finishes with a 3-way tie for T3 or better and JT, or JT wins, either one of them could go back to number one.
Yeah.
But how about this? If Rory finishes a 3-way tie for T3 and Rahm finishes worse than T59 and JT doesn't win, then Rory and Jon Rahm will both be number one.
Oh, give me that.
How cool would that be?
What I think what the number one player in the world should be is every Wednesday, instead, like the charity match should be like a battle royale where like there's like the number one contender and like kind of like UFC or boxing, guys have to work their way in. And then if you take down the number one player in a 9-hole match on Wednesday, now you're the number one player.
I like that. You should be the golf czar.
Thank you.
So, but the only thing is with that, now world number one is to play 5-round tournaments.
That's part of being number one.
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Up.
I mean, that's life at the top of the mountain, I guess.
Yeah.
Kyle, you were the commissioner. You can choose whoever you want. You can make Rick the czar.
Oh.
Yeah, I will.
Rick is just using this podcast as a platform to make the case that he should be commissioner of the Premier Golf League.
my DMs are open. Premier Golf League.
I've given up commissioner duties. I'm now caddying for Jordan Spieth. So
yeah,
true. I'd forgot that.
So this kind of, Mark, I asked you this about the other end of the player pool. Like, okay, the tour is very deep when Adam Long can go out and play himself into contention after making the cut on the number, but it's also very deep on the other side. It's like a barbell or a dumbbell where the top end guys, there's like 10 guys who could be number one player in the world. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. And then you're going to throw into the mix there, horses for courses kind of element. And we're going to see some different looking venues over the next little while. I mean, we'll go from Memphis, Kyle's favorite joint, which is going to be hard, fast, and hot as Hades, to San Francisco with perennial grass, lush, rough, and it's going to be in the mid-60s and cold. And then from there, you head to Greensboro, and then from there, you head to Boston, and then you got Chicagoland and Atlanta. And so it's all over the show now. So I think you'll start to see golf courses have a bit of an effect on where the rankings are. And there's one thing I know for certain. Both Justin Thomas and McIlroy, they've been in the conversation. They both play well on those playoff courses. Rory's won in Boston. He's won in Eastlake a couple times. Justin's won in Chicago. He's been close he's won Eastlake. Well, he's won the FedEx Cup. So when we start to get into playoff time, I feel like that barbell analogy you draw, Rick, might even be more apropos. But this time of the year with the courses, I think that's going to have a pretty big effect on who ends up, galvanizing the position, or if you see it being a little hot potato played with the thing.
I love it.
I think Rory's going to win the PGA.
That's a good call.
He won the match play there, right? The WGC match play was there. He beat Jon Rahm.
Yeah,
I did make the point. I made the point though, of all Rory's wins, only one of them have been on the West Coast, and that was in the match play when you're putting on Poania just against one person, and he can effectively outgun somebody. So I'm keen to see what happens over 4 rounds when you have 1 or 2 of those bounces around the place. Because Greg, you used the term about just mental wherewithal and fortitude. I mean, Poania greens in an afternoon with some cold weather, that is a mental grind. And that's the place where, the real bulletproof sorts, like Tiger Woods, will find a way to make that 15-footer at Torrey Pines on the final green. So that with McIlroy there is the only thing that has me with a slight question mark about his chances at Harding Park.
Real quick before I forget to throw this in, Tony Finau lost strokes from tee to green on Sunday, gained strokes putting. So tough look for you guys who are talking about how bad his putting was.
Look, I mean, he missed a 5 foot. This is situational when you come down the stretch. When you get to Sunday afternoon, it becomes situational.
Kyle.
He missed a 5 foot putt on number 13 when he's in the mix, right? He doesn't get up and down on number 12.
I know. I feel you. I'm with you. I was disappointed with the way he drove the ball. I thought he should have been better.
Kyle just pokes the bear over here.
Yeah, you just poke. You get me all wound up here.
I love it. I love the debate because it's a real debate. It's a real thing. Like what you guys are saying is totally valid. And I think, I probably shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to anyway. I saw Peter Kostis tweeted today about how statistics bore him. And that's, I mean, he said that on Twitter. Like it's, it's out there, and I get that. Like I totally understand where he's coming from, and that's probably the way a lot of people think. But I think that they do tell a story, and what Greg and Mark are saying is also part of the story. It's not just one thing. It's all these different things that you have to take into account to put together the full story of a player and of a tournament. And even more so because we don't see every single shot, right? Like we don't see all 275 shots from a guy in a given week. And so you're trying to piece all this stuff together and come up with a narrative. And I think that the debate is a really good one, especially around Finau.
If I may add to that a little bit, if you ask Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, and those sorts of guys, Finau, if they would sacrifice a few spots strokes gained off the tee to gain a few spots strokes gained putting, I think they will happily take that trade. Then if you ask down the other side of the equation where someone's not that flush off the tee or not that long, you say, hey, I'll give you 20 extra yards and you give me 1 or 2 extra putts when it means something coming down the stretch. They'll make the trade too. Here's the thing when it comes right down to it. If you want to win and you want to win big events, you better be making putts when the reckoning is there to be had.
Do you think Jordan Spieth, coming down the stretch on Sunday, needs to know like where he stands in strokes gained putted to get the job done? Is that the difference?
Yeah, Kyle will tell him.
Kyle just say, hey, look, if you hit this to 20 feet, you'll go to third, approach the green.
That's hilarious.
and then I can write an article that you've improved 3 straight weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, Mark doesn't believe me, but if you hit this tight, that's good, Greg. I like it. That's
well done, Greg. Yeah,
all right, let's wrap with this. The $1 million question, Greg. You and I are going to do the full coverage on this for next week, but early leans. I mean, I think there are a ton of question marks for the WGC FedEx next week. Is there one guy you've got a star next to his name so far?
Yeah, I'll give you two. I mentioned him earlier, Tyrrell Hatton. I mean, I feel like it's crazy not to go his direction. He's done is finish inside the top 16. Every event on the PGA Tour this year inside the top 16. He's definitely one. The other guy who I feel will get forgotten this week is Daniel Berger. He's basically played TPC Southwind 3 times. 2 of them are wins. In 2018, he missed the cut, but that was the year of his wrist injury. So I think Daniel Berger is going to show that he really is an elite player in this field.
Yeah, I'm with you on Daniel Berger. I actually had his name sort of circled. I don't know if Harris English is in the field. He plays that place beautifully. But I was there the first time Bryson DeChambeau got a start as an amateur. And he played beautifully around that place. And the way it sets up, it really lends itself, and this is right up your alley, Kyle, if you drive the thing well, because the greens are firm and fast. So if you drive it a long ways down there, and you can, even if you're coming out of the rough, if you've got short clubs into those very firm greens, you have the advantage. Look at the guys who go well around there. They drive the ball well, like a Dustin Johnson, for argument's sake. So I kind of got a bit of an eye on Bryson DeChambeau as well. And then I just want to see what Rory's up to. I mean, the way he hits it, the greens there are demanding. Now, they can drive you bananas because they're small and perched and firm. So you're going to have a bunch of chips out of Bermuda rough. If you can't handle that sort of stuff, then it'll drive you bananas. But if you're striking it well, you're going to have the leg up around that place.
I love the Tyrrell Hatton pick, Greg. Another guy, European Ryder Cup guy, Matt Fitzpatrick. He finished T4 there last year, coming off that awesome round at the end of Memorial last week. So I don't know. He's interesting. Webb has played well here. He finished second last year, and I think I trust him. He did miss the cut. Where did he miss the cut? Did he miss Memorial?
Memorial, yeah.
He didn't play great at Muirfield Village anyway. But I think I mostly trust him. He's only missed 3 cuts in the last two or 3 years. So I think he's not that there's a cut this week, but I think he's an interesting guy as well. By the way, last thing from me, I'll give anybody $100. We're talking about the 2018 players that Webb won. If you can tell me the 3 guys that tied for second without looking it up.
I was typing.
Ian Poulter was one of them. I know that, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, Poulter.
That was 17.
Oh, no, that was 17. That's
okay,
right.
I don't know.
Hold on. I don't know.
Me neither. I can't give you one. I'd be guessing.
So Xander's won.
Okay. I remember that.
Charles Schwartzel, no cowboy hat. And Jimmy Walker is the other.
You should have given $10,000 for that.
Well, I thought you might actually. I thought you had looked it up earlier and you just remembered it.
There was a chance. Okay, there was a chance. I looked it up recently, but I would not have remembered that. I do like Webb Simpson, and I like excusing his missed cut at the Memorial because it's better for my narrative that it's like he doesn't play well there or whatever.
Yeah.
But runner up to Brooks Koepka last season, he's the guy I had underlined. We'll be back, gentlemen. We're going to do DFS. We're going to do the storylines. We're going to do it all for the WGC, maybe even a little Barracuda. Careful. Watch out. Let me thank the boys from this evening. Kyle Porter, you can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. Greg Ducharme, you can find him on Twitter at TheRealGFD. Mark Immelman, you can find him at Mark_Immelman. Aloha, Mark. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.